Okay. So good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Mahesh.
Yeah, we meet again today. Today, I want to know from you about the recently concluded AI summit that happened in Delhi, right? It was a proud moment for us as a nation, right? So there's been a lot of buzz that has happened during those days, 3, 4 days. So what is your honest reaction to whatever you've been hearing?
So we have been hearing lot of things that are happening in US, like Claude, ChatGPT, and then we have been hearing lot of things happening in China, like DeepSeek. But there is very little that is coming out of India. So I think 1 week it brought the focus on India, what the companies in India are working on, what people are working on. So that focus, at least for a week, showcased where India is headed and the investments that are coming to India. So that way, I think, yeah, it was a very nice summit.
So there was a lot of discussion around AI infrastructure and scaling cost, right?
Yeah.
So does that match what you're seeing inside your own organization?
Yeah, I think in the summit they were talking more about the cost of the electricity that needs to be generated and the data center that will need a huge investment. But from our side, I think it is more about getting people the different tools and technologies that are enabling them to be more productive. And even though it is slowly we are adding more and more tools and it is adding to more cost, the way I see they have become more productive. And even if I get some of the best tools to all my team members and reduced, some 20-30% of the recruitment I would have done otherwise, I will be having a substantial saving with the productivity.
Right. So in that case, it brings me to this question, right? A lot of senior industry leaders have been giving their views, opinions on what AI is going to do in the next 3, 4, 5 years or whatever. And it's been a mixed views, if you ask me honestly. Some people have said AI is not going to impact jobs. Of course, it's going to impact, increase the productivity, but jobs per se it may not. And some people have said yes, it will. And these are very senior industry leaders, right? We can just not brush them aside, their views. So hearing all this, what is your thought process, or what is your point of view on this?
So, yeah, let us go back to the olden days where cloth used to be manufactured by handloom. There were a lot of people who were manufacturing cloth using handloom, and then we entered the industrial age where it got replaced by the power looms. People who continued to be on handloom, they might have lost jobs, but those got replaced by lot of additional jobs that were created by the power looms. So the view of a person depends on where he is focusing. If you look at handloom, yes, there will be job loss. If you look at power loom, it creates more jobs. And so I think every person is telling, a honest opinion. It's only, what they are looking at, which gives a different opinion.
So how do you figure out what actually matters versus the hype created?
Uh,
Yeah.
I think only time will tell, because there is a lot of hype and every company wants to get into it. And only time will tell whether the investment, already there are people who are telling that the huge investments that are going into data center, probably there won't be any return. And then in that case, many companies will lose money. Or all these investments will increase the income and they'll make huge money. From what you see on the news, looks like there is no general understanding or on whether it will be a huge profit or it will be a huge loss.
I've been reading some reports from some top magazines, right? And about a month or back, I read that 95% of the firms said they have not found any difference using AI. And recently, I read from one of the researchers that they've interviewed or they surveyed about 6,000 CEOs and CFOs and all of them, right, from around the world. And, and they say they found that nearly 90% of firms said has had no impact on employment or productivity.
So if you look at large corporations, they take lot of time to accept a change. In large corporations with thousands or tens of thousands of employees, these AI tools may not have been provided to all the employees. They might have given it to few team members. And also, they will already be in some big projects. And people who are in big projects, they tend to continue to work using their existing skill. Very few people would have actually put the new AI tools and technologies for an existing project. They might have used it to learn few things, or they might have tried for debugging and things like that. Due to a lot of this data security and governance policies, they may not have fully applied the tools on the big projects because no one want to get caught leaking some of the copyrighted code or documents onto the um, AI chatbot or vibe coding. So that way, if you see the adoption will be less on big corporations and big companies. But if you look at many of the startup companies, typically they have an idea and it takes about uh, an year to realize that idea as an MVP. That I have seen reducing it to like a week or 2 weeks. If you interview such companies, then you will realize the potential of this AI.
In fact, today I was talking to a couple of your employees, and one of them has built a front end in just about 15-20 minutes. And it looked really good. If it was say 1 year or 2 years back, probably that would have gone to a designer and then a professional developer and things like that. But I think now anybody who has basic knowledge of some AI tools can do a lot of stuff. In fact, for my own marketing and for my own startup, I've been using recently I used Claude to create a pitch deck, right? And it just gave amazing PPT, and I've been using AI tools to create videos, right? So as you said, the larger organizations may take some time, but the smaller ones, the leaner ones, the individuals, they have to be quick to adapt and increase the productivity and the quality as well,
Yeah, very true.
right? So what do you think could have come out better from the summit?
See, one of the things about the summit is it focused on the stalwarts. It focused on Altman, Sam Altman. It focused on Google's Pichai. So wherever you see, it is all about them, what they think, and it also included what they drank, what they ate. But ideally, what I would have loved is one complete schedule and with all the different sessions which are live, where I could have joined any session I liked, but yeah, I too would have heard one of the keynotes of Sam Altman, but after that, I would have loved to see all the other thousand voices which had come to a summit. So that I didn't see a clear uh, a schedule and a live feed. Yeah,
And also the focus was more on the top CEOs, right,
correct.
of top companies. But there were a
Yeah,
lot of other CEOs and developers
correct.
uh, who were participating, and then of course, being the media that is there, a lot of coverage was given on an unwanted or unfortunate event that happened with the university and their robot and things like that, and the media took up a lot of coverage on that part, which probably they thought would increase their TRP. But whereas I just got to read very little about the other excellent products or AI tools that were showcased.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, human society tend to amplify the negative things more than the positive things. So that way, yeah, one or two, negative incidents, they get amplified in the media. But people who have really invested their time, effort, they would have focused on what really mattered to them, and that is the remaining 99% of the good things.
So another thing that came out of the summit is a lot of views from top CEOs. With one person saying there'll be job losses, or basically freshers, people who do coding, they have to find another livelihood and things like that, right? uh, and other CEOs said no, it will not impact jobs and all. And that is a clear worry sign, although we are all proud of India hosting the summit, right? But views like this coming from top stalwarts from the industry does have its own impact among people, general people like me, right? Who are dependent on jobs and things like that, right? So, what is your views?
So let me go back to that handloom, power loom I was talking about. So when I was saying, you know, my mother had few silk sarees. There weren't many, probably a handful of silk sarees. The reason being, handloom was expensive to make. And if you look at the percentage of your salary to the cost of the handloom saree, it was high. Let us keep it as 10%. I don't have the exact number, So 10% of the amount was kept uh, for the silk sarees. When the power loom came, the same silk sarees became cheaper. So what happened was, then my mother started buying lot more silk sarees. Previously she used to wear the same silk saree for every marriage and one silk saree for a engagement, a different silk saree for some other occasion. But now she bought lot more silk sarees. And now if you look at the current generation, if they buy one particular dress and which has been posted on Instagram, they will never use it again because the cost has come down. So what it means is when the cost is high, you you have a budget. Let us keep some $1,000. When the cost is high, you end up getting only one dress. But now, when the cost becomes $500, you will spend the same $1,000, but you end up getting two sarees. And if the cost still becomes $100, we tend up to buy like 10 sarees because you want to be in a different saree in a different Instagram photo. The same thing will happen in IT. What's happened is there were a lot of companies or individuals who used to come to me and tell, can you develop a website for me? Then I will tell, it costs X dollar. And then, so the big companies who can afford it, they will take my service. But imagine So many people in the world who have a catering service, a restaurant that they run from home, or my wife itself, she does wonderful painting, but she didn't create a website because the amount it costs to get a website developed, hosted, all this is like not worth the time and money. So now all these people, when they see the cost of creating a website decreasing, there were a lot more people who will like to have a website done. There will be an exponential increase in demand, and that is why I feel they may not be a job loss in the long run. In the short run, probably we may see, but once we transition to AI based productivity, we will have lot more jobs created than a decrease in jobs.
So right. So basically, you're saying with the rate of production, that is the cost of production, when it goes down, um, there'll be more demand uh,
Yes.
from people who want these services, and hence the productivity will increase, and hence people will still have their jobs. But
Yes.
the important thing is that they have to upskill themselves so that they meet the customer requirements.
Yeah, that is true. A person, if he is like still wanting to do a handloom and create a silk saree, probably it will be a very niche segment. Every other person will like to have a cheaper version of it. And so only a person like in IT, only if you have AI enabled skill, you will be able to be more productive. And yeah.
So, excellent, sir. I think that's a very positive, thing, that message for people, right? Because there's a lot of anxiety in the market uh, to people, especially students and freshers, right? They're not sure about a lot of things, especially when people say coding will be no more required and things like that. So, so that this message is very important for them, that they have to upskill themselves. They have to keep in line with what the market demands.
Yeah, true. And for the short term, since there may be lesser jobs, people must be ready to join a company where there is learning more
Mhm.
than the earning. And
Uh,
I'm very sure, once the demand picks up with their skill and with the learning, they will be able to command a premium.
oh, excellent, excellent. So, coming back to the summit, sir. So, on a global scale, right, with the kind of young population that we have, and number of engineers and number of youth that we have, where does this place India on a global scale when it comes to, with respect to AI?
I think, yeah, like our IT minister keeps talking about the five layers where we have the electricity, and then we have the data center, and then we have the AI models, and then we have GPU, and finally the applications. I think the last 1 year we have seen lot of companies, including ours, which has really done wonders, creating a lot of agentic AI applications. So what we lacked a bit is in the electricity is also fine because we have come up with lot of renewable energy projects and nuclear energy projects are kicking up. I think the data center is one of our actually seal our weakness, and that the government has recognized and they are investing lot of time and money on it. So that I'm very happy that the first thing to progress is to identify your weakness. And now since we have identified the weakness and we are focusing on it, I'm very sure the government will work on that. And the GPU is another thing where we may be weak, but I think with supply increasing in the next couple of years, we should be able to uh, buy or rent a lot more GPUs. So in all other layers, we are very good already. I am very sure we will do very well in the future.
Yeah, same here. I hope all the products and services that go around the world originates from India.
Yes, that will be a great, achievement.
Right. And I know for sure that you have been working on not working on, basically you've created AI product yourself, which I would like to know much more. And you have already released it, and you've got excellent feedback from your, people who've used it, right, from the companies. I request one session on your AI capabilities that you have built, and I can see already, in your logo, there's an AI lab. I'm sure
Ah,
a
yes.
lot of experiments are being done there.
Yeah, the thing is, once we got productivity in our people, so what happened was any task I give them, they complete it quicker. So that is when I started realizing how do I use the potential of the people, because the things are getting, the tasks are getting completed faster. So we started focusing on some of the products that we can create. We have been predominantly a services company, even though we had a dream of coming out with our product sometime. This gave an opportunity where we had efficiency, time, money to come out with products. I'm very happy that, I would like to showcase some of the products that we have created, and we have started testing with, prospective customers, and it has received very good feedback.
Excellent, sir. I think we have to do one session on that.
Yes. Yeah, looking forward to that, Mahesh.
Sure, sir. And as I said in the beginning, it's a proud moment for us as a nation that we've hosted so many dignitaries, right from ministers and the French president to the top CEOs of the world, all of them in one place in India. It's a proud moment, and I really hope that we scale up when it comes to the services part, AI services part. Although we've been dominating in the IT services, and I'm sure we will dominate in AI services as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure because I have seen what people are capable, and our educational system. I have seen, it produces a lot of bright engineers who are focused on analytical and logical thinking. So and we have a huge young population, and they are very easy to adapt to the new skills. So that way, when the skill level of these people increase, surely this will lead to phenomenal increase in our deliverables. The next decade or two will see lot of these kids who will be coming up with a, one member or a handful of members with $1 billion revenue.
Right, sir. So yeah, so it, as you know, the government has been always been saying that we'll have to be job creators more than job seekers. I think AI probably will enable that for our youngsters.
Yeah, that is very sure because now, yeah, one person can team can compete with a company like mine. It's possible. So I'm looking forward to that day.